my name is Ramela, and I'll be discussing the work I did as a part of my summer 2020 NSERC in Dr. Dylan Fraser's lab. The topic is on community-oriented management of brook trout and walleye populations in lakes Mistassini, Albanel, and Waconichi. The project plays part in the Bigger Fishes initiative, which is a collaboration between several Canadian universities and genome centers. The report focuses on brook trout and walleye in the lakes Mistassini, Albanel, and Waconichi. The fish are two species of importance to conserve and manage, since to the Cree community, they are a source of nutrients and livelihood. The report summarizes current threats to the fish. It also summarizes management measures and conservation measures, and it features recommendations with Cree interests in mind. The conservation of brook trout and walleye populations, specifically their number and their diversity, is very important. I will now present key findings for the brook trout, which I was responsible for in this part of the project. Brook trout are relevant species socioeconomically in commercial, sport, and subsistence fishing. Hence, fishing quotas, which are limits to the number of trout fished each season, and the length of the season are key management parameters. Brook trout are also relevant in the way of genetic diversity. There are numerous genetically distinct brook trout populations in the lakes Mistassini, Albanel, and Waconichi. Those traits, so populations evolve those traits genetically and show them in physical differences. For example, we have inflow and outflow brook trout populations here right on the screen. And these populations developed to be different today due to being historically geographically isolated during a glaciation period around 7,000 to 8,000 years ago. Overall, it is important to conserve these populations to conserve all the types of genetic diversity out there. So after going through research and management reports for brook trout across Canada and the US, I've summarized some key recommendations and threats to the brook trout. The main threat is overfishing. Hence, it's important for management centers to regulate the quotas, season length, type of equipment, and location. For example, with regards to equipment, it's recommended to use barbless hooks instead of single barbed hooks to avoid damaging the inside of the fish's mouth and to reduce post-release mortality if the fish aren't being fished for food but for sport. Other measures to prevent overfishing involve rotating fishing regions in order to not exhaust one group of fish in one region. And another measure involves avoiding fishing an entire school of fish, a school being a group of fish. This goes back to conserving genetic diversity, since each school of brook trout turns out to be genetically distinct from the other. These two measures, rotating fishing regions and avoiding the fishing of entire schools, have actually originally been developed by the Cree community and to this day continue to manage these populations well. Another huge threat to brook trout is mining. The effluent or drainage from the mines is leaching into the water, where it acidifies it and reduces its quality. And it often suffocates brook trout eggs. Ways to mitigate the damage is to use limestone sand, since that makes the water less acidic. Another, tool could be riparian vegetation, which is streamside vegetation when the stream isn't too wide. Riparian vegetation can regulate the flow of the water and diversify brook trout habitat to help with their laying of eggs. So far, these would be the best bets short of shutting down the mines. Ultimately, we hope that these recommendations will be helpful to the Cree community managing these populations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them or to email me, and either tweet at me at my Twitter handle. Thank you very much.